Welcome back, one and all. This will be the second and final of the actual videos in the Minnesota series. There's going to be a mixture of things here, guys. There is some stuff that I'm going to have to voice over. I think I mentioned in the first video we had some technical problems, and then some of the stuff has got sound. So what I'll do is, in between scenes, I'll do a short voiceover just to provide some context. I hope you enjoy it. So when we did the Texas rig video, we discussed the couple of different styles of casting, and I said I would give you guys a tutorial on how to flip and pitch. So what we're going to do here now is the pitching. A couple of things to remember when you're learning how to pitch. 3 things to make it easier on yourself. Be right-handed like me. Rod in the right hand, thumb on the reel. Bait in your open hand like that. Pinch your thumb and forefinger above the sinker. It's important that the bait, whatever bait you're going to use, is in line with the reel before you cast it, or before you pitch it, should I say. And then don't force it. Don't try and force it. You will get crow's nest, overwinds, bad words. So there we go. It's in line with the reel. Pinch the line with your thumb and your forefinger. Keep the bait. Keep your hand open. Otherwise you'll end up with a hook in your finger. Bring your rod back like that. Elbow down. Pitching 101. In these next couple of clips, we've gone to a brand new lake. This is the day that I mentioned where the temperature got over 100 degrees and I was taking a serious amount of strain. But we've gone to hide at the back of a little island, and I just happened to find some juicy looking stuff that I could pitch at. So enjoy these couple of clips. There's got to be a fish in there somewhere. Pretty perfect, doesn't it? Mm-hmm. Gotta be one, yeah. It might be in that little bend there. It looks a little bit deeper there. Smaller. Pitching for smallmouth. That was like a smallmouth, but quite a bit smaller. Pretty cool for a pitching deal along here. We're on the shaded side of this little tiny island. Where we are right now, the water is very, very shallow, but there's a lot of pebbles and things. So I don't know if Fran got it on the last one, but that was a tiny little smallmouth sitting on these pebbles. What I'm hoping is when we get up around this little corner bit here where the big tree is, that there's a hollow there. It's the kind of place that you would want to come in and look for a bigger largemouth.
So it's the same setup again, tiny little sink, I think it's an 8 ounce. And then just a little crawl. We'll keep going and see what we can find. A lot of sunnies in here as well. They like that orange belly of that little. There's a whole shoal of them eating my bait right now. Get off. Have a look under this tree and see if anyone's home. We were having this discussion a while ago about fishing super shallow in clear water, and guys are often scared to do that. But the deal with that is, and it's something that guys struggle with until they work it out, the fish are indifferent. They live in this clear water, so as long as they can stay under cover or next to some kind of structure, it doesn't bother them too much. Friend and I have caught some pretty big fish in super, super clear water, less than a foot deep, hey friend? So you've got to try. I mean, we're not going to do it for long. We've got another deal that we've worked out on the weed edge. I come in here because I'm a bit soft and I just wanted to escape the sun for 10 minutes. Because I was lied to and told it was going to be overcast today, so just come in here and dink around a little bit, see if we can find one largemouth maybe sitting up next to this tree or next to that next tree. It's nice and dark in there. This is a pretty lake, by the way. We've come to a different lake. I'm not going to tell you the name of the lake for obvious reasons. We don't want to upset the people that live here. But it's a pretty lake in northern Minnesota.
Okay, this next clip, there's not a lot of talking going on because there's a lot of concentrating going on. I've ditched the light pitching sinkers and the small setup, and I've gone to the big boy rod. It's a 7'6", extra heavy, extra fast, and I'm pitching a 1 ounce grass jig. This is something I've never done in my life before. You'll hear me say it. And the weed was from the bottom to the surface in places was 16 foot deep. So its vertical stem is 16 foot, and I was getting a bit frustrated because I couldn't get through it. So I went to this, for me, massive 1 ounce grass jig with a big trailer on it, and I started bombing it through this weed. And a brand new technique for me, I'm not going to lie. I've never done it before in my life, but it was a lot of fun. Enjoy it, guys.
It'd take me a couple of days to get good at this. I'd have to come and do just this. The size of that fish to eat a 1 ounce jig. That's ridiculous.
Okay, this next clip is going to be completely voiced over. This is one of the ones where we lost the sound. So forgive me, guys, I've never done this like this before, and I will try and explain exactly what is going on in the clips. Enjoy. Okay, we've transitioned back to one of my favorite little lakes in northern Minnesota. In this particular clip here, I am having a discussion with a guy that's sitting on the boat in the background. You can't see him properly, but we're having some good banter backwards and forwards, and he's giving me abuse and I'm giving him some abuse. And what I'm doing in this particular clip right here is, this is a fairly shallow area. Where we are is about 5 foot, and you can see those lily pads that are in front of me. So what I'm doing is I'm pitching to the fronts of those pads and pitching on the outside edge of them, and sometimes I'm pitching into the actual holes between the pad stems. Here you can see me smiling. The boat owner is giving me some more abuse, and so, but it was all friendly. There was nothing unfriendly about it. Sometimes you get friendly people like that just want to have a chat, and sometimes you get people that are really not very nice. Just play it as it lies. Here we're moving on to an isolated patch of pads. You can see me pointing there. I'm trying to explain what's going on. There's nothing else around them, so if there was any fish in the area, with it being a nice hot sunny day, they would probably go underneath those pads to escape the full sun. This lake is quite clear. The visibility goes down probably 4 or 5 feet, and probably even more than that in places where the weed growth is more extensive. Now we're just working further down the bank. Okay, then moving on. So what's happening here is we're coming up to a series of docks where I've previously caught fish. And in this area here, if you look really carefully just ahead of me, you can see there is 2 distinct different types of weed growth. Both of those weeds are weed types are very, very prevalent and very, very healthy in this particular lake. And if you look carefully in the weed that's closest to us, you will see that there's dark patches. That's holes in between the weed. So what I'm doing as I'm going down this particular stretch of bank is I'm pitching to the pads. You'll see me pitch to the pontoon boat, underneath the pontoon boat, the corner of the dock, under the motor of the pontoon boat. Then you'll see me pitch to just random stuff. That's me pitching to holes in between the patches of weed and between the patches of lily pads. And you can see, if you look really carefully on the banks have been built up by the landowner, so there's a lot of rock there. And that some of those rocks have fallen over, but it is fairly shallow in this area. So you can see, if you look in the background, it's overcast, and on overcast days the fish will tend to feed slightly longer in the mornings. Now we're moving on to a very important part. I'm going to start explaining to you now about the actually fishing a dock. So what I'm doing is I'm talking as I'm moving up to the dock. I'm fishing the weeds on the outside edges of the dock, and then I start actually pitching to the dock. So, and I'm explaining, you pitch at every upright, if the dock is high enough, try and shoot it under the dock. Then I get all excited because I see a ladder on the side of the dock, and that's one of my favorite things to pitch at. And it's out of shot here, but you'll see me, I turn and pitch to the ladder as I'm explaining it to you. And it's going down, and I'm explaining as it's going down the steps of the ladder. That's why I think fish favor them, because it creates areas of shade. And then you'll see I pick up my hands, and bam, that was it. And I start laughing because as I'm explaining it, it happens, which doesn't very often happen when you are filming. And this beautiful little chap comes out, about a 2.5 pounder-ish, around there somewhere. And I'm quite pleased with myself because it actually worked. And here I can't remember what I'm doing. I might be comparing the size of my belly to the fish's belly, but I'm very happy, and I'm laughing it off and explaining how beautiful this fish is and how much of a hard day. And there's quite a bit of whining going on in amongst the laughter. And that was that. This is one of my favorite lakes. It was a tough morning. I expected more fish, and we just didn't get them. Okay, a little bit of context for this next clip, guys. We'd been trying to film this for, 4 or 5 days, and every time we tried to film it, something happened, either weather or whatever it was. So I was a bit frustrated when I filmed this, but this is the way I wanted to film this, was me going down a bank, fishing docks, and saying what was coming into my mind, or how I would break down a bank that had docks on it, and my thought process of what I'm doing. So I'm gonna just let it play, and I want you to just listen. There is some instruction, but it's mainly my thoughts and what I'm thinking as I'm fishing down the bank. Then towards the end of the clip, you're going to see there's some frustration creeping in. You'll actually see what happens. There's a boat that goes past, and this guy had been hopscotching us, I don't know for how long. We go down 2 docks, he'd scoot in front of us and fish 2 docks. Then we'd move 2 docks further down, and he just kept jumping us, and it was getting on my nerves. And it's not because of the fishing, it's because we were trying to film the video, and he was just being not a very nice guy. So I hope you enjoy this clip, guys. This is going to be the last clip for this video, and then we'll finish it off.
Hello. Now these next ones, even though they're shallow, if they are shallow, there's a lot of shade. Like a lot of shade, a lot of poles, probably a lot of cables. So you might well get a fish under there. But these docks here, you can see how far they are off the bank. There's not enough water underneath them, it's too shallow for this time of year. Problem when you've got clear water like this and you're pitching is that you can't make any noise and you can't cast a shadow, especially when you're fishing docks like this. So whereas when you've got more stain in the water, you can get slightly closer to the dock for more accurate pitches or shorter pitches. When you've got super clean water like this, it's virtually impossible. Your pitches are going to be 20 foot plus. Otherwise, they'll see you and hear you straight away. That was a stealth approach, that one. It's 2 foot there. Oh, there's not even sunnies underneath them. So have a look at these shade docks and see what we can find. I'm not super hopeful, but we'll give it a go. Okay, so let's break down how I flip and pitch a dock. You can see all the uprights on the dock. So if you have a lake where the fish gravitate towards the docks, every single one of those uprights can constitute an area that would hold a fish. The biggest deal, like on a day like today when we had full sun, the clouds come now, but when we had full sun, is that these bigger docks with the long walkways create a lot of shade. So your pitches are great. You've got to try and get them below the walkways or underneath the dock where the shaded areas are. Fish are just like humans. They don't have eyelids. So humans wear sunglasses, fish don't have eyelids. They don't like full sun in shallow water, especially. So you can see, like with these docks that we're going down here, all of them have got covers. They create massive amounts of shade. The feeling that I have at the moment is that these docks are too shallow. Something else that you can try as well when you're pitching docks, everywhere there's an outboard motor, there's usually a hole or a depression below. So you pitch to below the propeller. Don't hit the dock owner's boat. They don't like that very much when you do that. It works particularly well around the spawn because it's a clean area. There's no one home today. And don't only make one pitch to a dock. You've got to make, that was a fish. That was a sunfish. You've got to make multiple pitches to the dock. So everywhere where you see an upright piece of steel, everywhere there's a ladder, if your pitching is good enough, get underneath the dock, especially as we said with high bright skies. Pontoons, create a lot of shade as well. That's a fish. That one was right on the corner point of that dock under the shade. It's like a bass, but a lot smaller. Where were we? With the high bright skies, you can have either really good days pitching docks when you can, if you can successfully get it under the dock, or it can just be absolute crap because the fish will move out to deeper water if it's too, if the first break, if it's too bright for them. Now that gives me a little bit of hope, but that's more like the food that the bass that I'm trying to catch eat. You can, I mean, it's two swallows don't make a summer there, but you can see when we were coming down the individual docks there, no bites, except at that very first one, which was, it had 7 foot of water behind the dock. As soon as we get through all these docks that have got multiple constructions, lots of steel in the water, lots of shade, that kind of stuff, we get our first bite. So it half proves our point. We get another bite, it's a pattern. I've never seen docks so close together like this before. These people must all be very good friends.
I think it might be a resort. Or like they have an association.
Yeah. That should have been a fish right there. That's where it's a dock, where a dock and a boat lift come together. That's usually money. Don't hit the docks. People don't like it when you hit their docks. And as you can see, guys, when we were talking about the Texas rig on the Texas rig video, it's a very fast style of fishing. Pitch it in there, hop it once or twice. If you don't get bit back, next pitch. It's just the style of fishing that it is. It helps you cover a lot of water, and unless you're someone like me that's stubborn, you'll know pretty quickly whether there's fish around the docks or not, and you'll leave if there isn't. If you're smart. If I am not, I have never claimed to be smart. And just a little pick up on what we discussed when we did the tutorial on the pitching. It's a very fluid motion, and once you kind of get the hang of it, the rod kind of becomes like an extension of your arm. So although it is tiring when you're learning, that might have been a sing. Although it's tiring when you're learning, once you get into a kind of a flow, for example, when I first got to America this year, we went to one of our favorite little lakes where I know that there's a good dock pattern. There's always fish on docks there. And after the first 4 or 5 docks, I was absolutely stuffed because I just haven't done it for a whole year. So, but now that it's been a few weeks, you get back into the flow of things and it just becomes kind of more manageable. Don't hit people's docks. They don't like it. Looks like we might be getting a little bit more depth on this next bunch of docks here, so we'll see if we're lucky. I think that a lot of people, the biggest worry as well is that they're going to get overwinds when they're pitching, or crow's nests if you like. And the biggest deal normally is when you hit the gunnel with either with the rod tip or with your lure, and that will definitely give you overwinds, bad words, all that kind of stuff. So what you want to do is, in between every 10 pitches or so, just give it a little cast out, get your line straight again. and I'll just reiterate what we said in the previous tutorial, is make sure that the lure is in line roughly with your reel. Pinch the line above the sinker, open hand, and you kind of swing it out there. It doesn't need a lot of effort. If you go with your pitching reels especially, they need to be kept well oiled, so you always want to make sure that this bearing on the outside of the spool's got oil. And then most reels have got an oiling port underneath where the handle is, and you can just give it a dot of oil in there as well. They have to be slick. If a reel is juddery when the line's coming off it, it will be no good for a pitching reel. It's got to be super smooth. Okay, we've got about 5.5 foot of water here now on the back end of this dock. So that's getting kind of where we need it to be. So let's see how we go. Generally speaking, for docks with all applications, not just pitching, you might want to throw a shaky head or drop shot around the dock or whatever the case is. The deeper docks on the lake, the deeper the docks are, the more fish you're going to catch around them. Except in the fall of the year. The fall of the year, it doesn't matter really. For whatever reason, the fish tend to migrate to the docks. You can have really good fishing in the fall of the year if you've got a lot of docks on your home lake. See guys, that was a complete lie, because that's the deepest dock we've had in the last 200 yards, not a bite. So you don't need to believe what I tell you. It's a lie. Don't hit the people's boats, they don't like it.
So there you have it, bass fans. My first attempt at doing actual fishing and filming at the same time. As I said in the previous video, super grateful to Fran for all his hard work and his effort. Bear in mind guys, we are not professional filmmakers, so I think he did a fantastic job. So thank you brother, appreciate you and I love you. That's it for this episode guys. We'll be back to normal episodes from next week. I hope you've enjoyed this little insight into the USA trip 2025, and hopefully there's many more to come, and we'll catch you next time. See ya.